Oh, Netflix, my darling Netflix, thank you for finally releasing a project that the people want to watch. After struggling through Rebel Moon 2, you finally delivered a film that's worthy of my watch time. Now, over the years, Netflix has been known for its hits and, quite frankly, its many misses. And I've been personally victimized by turning on Netflix and wasting an hour or two of my life on a project that's simply not good. And I was expecting The Hitman starring Glen Powell to be similar to that. But quite frankly, me and a lot of critics were pleasantly surprised at what The Hitman had to offer. Now, The Hitman debuted at the Venice Film Festival last year in September, and it was held hostage by Netflix as it was released in several smaller theaters in May of 2024, and then to Netflix this month. And not only was Netflix able to deliver a hit in The Hitman, and another reason for me to love Glen Powell, but it's based on a true story. Imagine that. Not only can Netflix boast about adding another feather in Glen Powell's seemingly perfect streak of good movies, but they can say that it wasn't entirely made up. So without further ado, let's get into my thoughts right now. Rom-coms are back, and The Hitman proves that adding a little spice to any wacky situation yields not only an interesting plot that keeps the audience engaged, but it gives the actors a lot to do in terms of crafting the characters. And so, The Hitman, if you don't know, just simple plot information, not spoiler at all. The Hitman follows a professional killer, Gary Johnson, as he breaks protocol to help a desperate woman trying to flee an abusive husband and finds himself falling for her. So The Hitman has many aspects of a classic rom-com, seemingly normal, not quite normal situation that involves an interesting protagonist and a curveball in the road that kind of upends the whole situation. Most times yielding a romance in between and all around it. And so Hitman falls right into that category, and it is spearheaded by the brilliant Glen Powell. Glen Powell, so far, I would say he may be the new rom-com king in the way that I would say Will Smith or even my boy Vince. Can't remember Vince's last name, but Will Smith was back in the early 2000s with Hitch. Glen Powell is coming off of Anything But You with Sydney Sweeney. That is a good film. Check that out. It's entertaining. I enjoyed it, and it seems that Glen is on a roll. His next film to come out is the sequel, more or less, to Twisters, or it's a reboot, or it's something. All I know is that Glen Powell is involved, and when Glen Powell is involved, well, you can expect to see something of quality. And so ever since Top Gun Maverick came out in 2022, which starred Glen Powell alongside Tom Cruise, he's come out with some bangers, with Devotion starring him and Jonathan Majors. Jonathan Majors is a great talent, as he showed in Devotion. He just needs to wait his turn. He's also had Anyone But You, Twisters, and now he has Hitman. And so I'm looking forward to the career progression this man has, and it also speaks to his versatility. Not only does Glen play a weird, kind of nerdy hitman informant for the local police department, but he also creates these characters with the hitman, and it's just so interesting and so funny to see him go into the different pockets, I would say, as an actor, and get to do those different things. I think one of the characters that he played as the hitman was inspired by Tilda Swinton, or Tilda Swinton. What is it? Hold on, y'all. It's Tilda. Yeah, Tilda Swinton. I know I had that right. Inspired by Tilda Swinton, and it was absolutely perfect and hilarious. And so Glen Powell is just a king in the rom-com space. Much deeper than that is just a straightforward plot, it seems like. reads very well on screen, just in terms of the plot. It's not confusing. He's a hitman, falls in love with someone trying to hire him, and he has some things to figure out in the middle. But it's straightforward, it's not convoluted, and I want more rom-coms to kind of follow that pattern. People come to a rom-com for just the comfort of it. We don't want to have to figure out 50 million things. This is not, this is not Da Vinci Code. This is not something where we need to be sitting there racking our brain. We just want to watch something that's relatively low vibrational in the way that we have to think about it. It's quite simple, and it's like, oh, they add a few twists in, especially towards the end of the movie, that I was like, oh, we didn't know this person was capable of this. But the twist doesn't come as like, oh my gosh, this is so crazy. But it's just like, oh, okay, I can see that. I'm not mad at it. And so the plot 110% works for this film. Another standout outside of Glen Powell is Adria Arjona. Now, she plays Maddie in the film, who is the escapee, or the woman that Glen Powell falls in love with in this film. And I feel like she's perfectly cast. She's beautiful, but also unsuspecting. And she comes off and hits her notes, and she has a unique comedic timing. There's a scene in the film where they have this back and forth banter, and she's reading off of this notes app, and she's improvising, and it works well. Their chemistry is fire on screen, and you can see that. I think any rom-com needs chemistry. Anything featuring Amy Schumer is just dead on arrival. No one really likes her. No one finds her beautiful, funny, or attractive. And so, you got to have people in a rom-com that people think are attractive for it to somewhat work. They have to be funny, but they have to be beautiful, and they can say, oh, that's cute, or oh, why is she with him? And so, you have those moments. So Adria is no newcomer to the movie space. She's done things like Morbius, which, to her credit, Morbius is a big studio film, so we're not going to knock her for that. She did 6 Underground with Ryan Reynolds. I love that film. That film was fun. Also a Netflix film. But she was also in Andor, Star Wars Andor, which is probably one of the better Star Wars projects, and it's got great critical acclaim. I don't know if the fan base showed up for it, but it's an actually interesting film. And so she's perfectly cast. Her and Glenn play off each other, and it has a simple ending that is just, you can tie it up with a bow, and I love it. We don't need to leave out with any mystery, and it gives us the viewers exactly what we want to see out of our rom-coms. And so overall, The Hitman is a hit, no pun intended. And I encourage everyone to dive into this fun Netflix film, and that, quite frankly, doesn't disappoint. I feel like you won't waste any time by watching this film, and you'll definitely say after that, that was nice, that was fun, it was fine. You won't say it was bad or a waste of time. How did they pay for that? Why did they pay for that? And I feel like that these days, if you walk away with that sentiment of saying, that was good, that was fine, I'd watch that again, then you've got a winner. You've got a winner in your catalog. And so make sure you comment, like, and subscribe. And this has been another Juju Writes Review. Keep it locked.